Everyone has their favorite fish offshore, and tonight's species is definitely one of mine. I like them because they're acrobatic, beautiful, and they use their sail to intimidate their prey. Tonight we're talking sailfish here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. We're your hosts, Brie Gabrielle and Captain Rick Murphy. And as you can see, we have our first live studio audience of the season joining us today, along with students from St. Thomas the Apostle. So welcome. A few of them are on the boat with us, Rick. As you can
girls,
see, some of the
thank
ladies
you guys
we got
so
up
much
here.
Coming.
Which means we're going to have an extra added amount of fun talking about sailfish today.
Absolutely. You know, Bree, sailfish certainly, as I said on the top of the show, one of my favorites. And when they put the sail up and they come up underneath a kite bait,
cool.
or they're chasing a live bait around, it is just so awesome how they, you know, herd all of the bait into a little circle before they go in and whack them.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Sorry, man.
It's fine. It's fine. And I'm sure Dave Ferrell at the CCA Workbench is going to add a few more tidbits to our sailfish discussion. Aren't you, Dave?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about how to hook them on free spool and a circle hook, and you know, how to catch the things.
How to catch them
We've
things.
done a lot of rigging stuff. We're going to show you how to catch them.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
Fishing.
absolutely.
Not catching.
That's right. Let's go.
All right, helping us get rigged up for the weekend in the East Region is Captain Mike Holliday. And if you want to catch the sails, you got to find the bait schools. Tell us more, Mike.
That's pretty much the key right now, Bree. You know, we're kind of on the tail end of the sailfish migration through my region, so we're not seeing the numbers that we had just a month or two ago. Most of the anglers that are targeting sailfish, they're pulling live baits or they're flying a kite around the reefs and wrecks that are holding the bait. Find the bait, you find the fish. Most of that's in 100 to 220 feet of water. You'll also find a few fish on the color changes and on the rips and on the weed lines, basically anywhere that's holding bait. If you're going to troll, start with a rigged ballyhoo on 50 or 60 pound leader, a 7/0 J style or a circle hook. Fish them either naked or with a blue and white skirt. For live bait, if that's your game, goggle eyes, thread fins, sardines, and pilchards. Those are always going to be your top baits to put on a kite or slow troll behind the boat. When a fish comes up to eat, give it a 2 or 3 second drop back and come tight and watch it go ballistic. The average sailfish in my region right now is going to be 30 to 40 pounds. And then with all the easterly winds, they're just what we needed to kind of bring the bait closer to shore and to drive the dolphin over from the other side of the Gulf Stream. The majority of dolphin being caught right now are small schoolies and then some decent sized singles and pairs, but there are some bigger dolphin caught this week in 100 feet of water or more. April and May are historically when we see the largest dolphin of the year. So, you know, I really expect to see some big fish hitting the dock starting this week. So you can troll ballyhoo with a green or an orange skirt if you want to cover water. You can run and gun and look for something floating, or you can just drift and toss out some chum baits and see if you can bring the fish to you. Rips, weed lines, and floating debris will all hold fish. I heard of 2 fish caught this week that were over 30 pounds. One was 36, one was 38. And both of them were caught more than 20 miles out, and both of them were caught under diving frigate birds. So keep your eyes open for birds. Keep some spinning rods rigged with either a jig or rigged with a hook and some fresh chunks of bait fish in case you come across a good school of fish. Average dolphin right now is going to be 6 to 15 pounds.
All right, let's go inshore, Hollywood.
Well, the snook bite picked up as the larger fish are starting to move to the beaches and the inlet from their offshore and their backcountry winter places. I talked to Captain Ed Zayak at Jensen Beach. He had clients that caught slot or over the slot fish on his last 3 trips fishing around the docks of the St. Lucie River. I've had good reports of snook from anglers throwing topwater plugs on the shorelines of Little Lake Worth down in Palm Beach County and from the docks of the Intercoastal Waterway around Hope Sound at night, really south of Hope Sound. There's also been some fish on the Roosevelt Bridge in Stewart and in the Fort Pierce Inlet. Good numbers of fish in the Fort Pierce Inlet. Mullet are starting to show on the flats and in the channels close to the inlets. So topwater plugs, saltwater cess and dye dappers and in the mullet colors and big swimming plugs are all going to be working real well in low light. Then in the middle of the day, you can pitch a live mullet up against the seawalls, or you can fish pilchards or thread fins along the shorelines or around the inlet docks. Average snook is going to be 24 inches with fish to 20 pounds being caught this week. I got a photo Oh, that's Nick and Greg Overton. They're from Iowa. They caught that slot snook on a father and son trip with Captain Ed Zayak at Jensen Beach, and that fish ate a live mullet. And the other thing is, every April we get this good push of flounder into the intercoastal waterway, and a lot of those fish gravitate to the bridges and docks that have lights or that are holding schools of either juvenile threadfins or pilchards or even just little minnows around them. The flounder will lie right up against the pilings or under the bait schools in places like the Little Jim Bridge and the West Catwalk on South Bridge in Fort Pierce, or around the catwalks or the fishing pier around the Jensen Beach Causeway. It primarily happens in the Indian River. That's where that takes place. What's nice about the flounder bite is time of day has no bearing, so you can go whenever you have a time to go fishing. The key is to make sure your bait is constantly on the bottom, so the fish can see it and they can catch it easily. You can put a shrimp or a killifish or a small mullet on a jig head and bounce it along the bottom in a moving tide, or you can use a 30-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 3.0 VMC kale hook. Take a half-ounce rubber core sinker and put it in front of that. Put the same bait on, cast it out, and drag it back along the bottom. And the thing you want to remember, flounder often grab a bait by the tail, so when you feel the bite, just give it a few seconds, give it 10, 15 seconds to get the entire bait in its mouth before you set the hook. Because a lot of these fish are small. The average spring flounder is going to be 1 to 3 pounds.
All right, Hollywood, this time of year, the bass start bedding. You got any reports about bass?
Well, no. You know what I do have? It's also the dry season. We're just coming up on the rainy season, and that's when the Everglades flats and the ponds dry up, and that pushes all the fish into the canals along the Tamiami Trail and along the Holiday Park area in those canals. So we're starting to get a little bit of rain. That's got the water moving in the canals and around the bridges, and that's really lit up the bass bite. With anglers averaging 100 fish or more per trip, I talked to 2 guys that had 260 bass today. The majority of fish are coming along the shorelines on Senko rigged, either black or June bug colored trick worms or fat jobs. Small topwater plugs and swim plugs are also catching a lot of fish. The larger bass seem to be around the bridges or around the points where 2 canals intersect and you get a little bit of moving water. The average bass these guys are catching are 1 to 2 pounds. But, most anglers are catching 2 or 3 or 4 of those 4 to 5 pound bass every trip. So get an early start to beat the heat. Watch for thunderstorms. The bite should only go on for about another 3 weeks to a month before the rain starts. So that's the place to be right now.
You're absolutely right, Hollywood. Thank you for starting us off. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Atlas Jack Plate hotspots for the East region. Mike says inshore flounder on the Jensen Beach Causeway Catwalk and Pier. Shrimp or mullet on a jig head or white saltwater assassin curly tail will work for those flounder. And then offshore, mutton snappers to 15 pounds in 70 to 80 feet of water off of Juneau Beach to Hobe Sound. Sardines, cigar minos, and grunt plugs on the bottom are going to work for those mutton snappers.
Well, there's no doubt the Keys has the sails, and if that's what you're looking for, Captain Randy Tao has got the deets. Tell us, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. When we talk about sailfish this time of year, it's a little different than what we go through in the winter. Right now we're looking for the condition that allows a color change or a tailing condition on the edge of the reef or beyond, and we only get that when we have the wind blowing. When it's calm, we usually don't get that color change or that powder condition, so we really depend on the weather. Now, we just had a little front come through. It didn't do a whole lot. The forecast was it was supposed to get windier. Hasn't happened yet, but there are some fish around. Guys are finding swimming down the edge of the reef, but what we really are looking for is that wind to blow, current into the wind, and this is all sight fishing. When you have that condition, these fish are up near the surface, and you're going down the color change, and you'll see them, and you cast your bait to them. It's all spinning rod fishing, so you want to have plenty of rods ready, and oftentimes there's more than one fish there. You might only see one, but there might be 4 or 5 swimming with the one that you can see. So you want to be ready with a pilchard or a cigar minnow. A small bait works the best when you're sight casting to these sailfish because they can eat them real easy. And that's really what we're looking for right now. Marathon had a condition a few days ago with a color change and a tailing condition. That went away today, but we're hoping that the wind blows a little bit. Key West would probably be the prime spot right now. More Marathon in Key West. We're looking for that condition to happen any day here.
All right, what else you got for us offshore, Randy?
You know, the dolphin are starting to show up. We're just on the beginning of dolphin season, just like we are tarpon season, and guys are finding fish from about 400 feet on out. Now, you might find them off the edge of the reef, but more guys are looking offshore now for birds, any kind of debris, weed lines, and things like that. These are signs that are going to tell you there might be something in the area, so you want to slow down, you want to take a look. I like to put out 2 ballyhoos and just troll as I'm trying to spot something that might be holding a fish, or if I see a fish, and have my spinning rods ready to throw. Live bait's always great if you can have it on board, like pilchard, cigar minnows again, or even ballyhoos. If you can't get live bait, a ballyhoo or a flying fish is a great bait to cast on a spinning rod. And I was talking to Captain Brian Cohn on the Contagious. He's been getting into the dolphin almost every day, anywhere from 300 to 400 feet. He's catching some nice fish. I've got a photo from Jen Zabrowski, who was fishing with her brother, Big Dog Jeff, from Fort Lauderdale last weekend, and this was her dolphin she found.
All right, great picture. All right, what do we got inshore, Bub?
The snook fishing after Hurricane Irma has been up and down. Some guys find them, some guys don't. Conditions look good, but, you know, the fishing really has been hit and miss. Now, depending on what you like to do, if you're a poling guy, sight fishing, or you fish shorelines and channels, it's kind of 2 different ways to do it. Captain Brian Williams with Serenity Charters out of Angler's House Marina in Alamorada, he's got the deeper water shoreline fishing down pat. Day before yesterday, they caught and released 60 snook, and he said it was one of the best days he's had since Hurricane Irma. Now, not a lot of people did good that day, but he did. He was in the right place at the right time. He found them. He caught a bunch of fish. Captain Richard Black, he's been finding fish up on top of the flats around Flamingo, and he said he's sight casting to quite a few snook and catching them. He said they're pretty user-friendly when they do make a cast to them. So that's 2 different scenarios. And then you've got Brandon Pans. Him and his dad have HP Marine Service at Tavernier Creek Marina. He sent me a photo of a 40-inch snook he caught in Whitewater Bay on artificial.
Nice. All right, one more to go. What do you got?
You know, bonefish right now, we can't overlook the bonefish. They are starting to make a little bit of a comeback. They're not the 15-pounders that we're used to, but there's bonefish at times when the conditions are right. Conditions are everything. A hard east wind on an incoming tide is key to go look for bonefish, and we've had that the last few mornings, and the bonefishing's been pretty good. Quite a few guys are getting into them, taking a break from tarpon fishing until they can see. Middle of the day, they go tarpon fishing, but the mornings have been good for tailing fish, and as that tide gets a little higher, they've been mudding. But a live shrimp or a small blue crab on a spinning rod has been working really well.
Thank you so much, Randy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys. Our guy Randy says, inshore, go bone fishing. Fish on the incoming tide where you have the wind and the current going in the same direction. Use a live shrimp or a small blue crab for the bones. And then offshore dolphin, looking 400 to 600 feet of water. Watch for birds, debris, or weed lines to hold gaffer-sized dolphin.
That sounds good right about now. There's always tournaments going on in the Keys, so let's take a look at what's coming up.
All right.
More than 40 species of fish are targeted during the Key West Fishing Tournament that continues through the end of August with free registration at various tackle shops in the Lower Keys and Key West. Participating anglers receive certificates noting their catches or releases and qualify for a variety of prizes. Over $30,000 in cash and prizes awaits anglers at the Marathon Offshore Bull and Cow Dolphin Tournament May 4th through the 6th in the Middle Keys. The 4th annual Skipper's Dolphin Tournament is set for June 1st through the 3rd. First place team is to be awarded $20,000 in cash with additional prize monies given for 2nd through 6th place. The silver anniversary of the original Big Pine and Lower Keys Dolphin Tournament is set for June 1st to the 3rd. Presented by the Lower Keys Chamber of Commerce, there's more than $35,000 in cash prizes and awards. Wow, the Keys has a lot going on. I'm getting tongue-tied here, man. So much. All right, let's now check in with Andy Newman to see what featured tournament he has for us. Go for it, Andy.
Well, hi, guys. The Nick Sheehan Dolphin Tournament, set for May 4th to the 6th in Alamorada, honors the memory of the late Florida Keys student with a namesake community scholarship fund. Hosted at Tavernier Creek Marina on Plantation Key, It features cash prizes and $25,000 to the angler catching a dolphin that beats the state record. There's more details at nicksheehan.com, and for more information on all tournaments in the Florida Keys, as well as travel specifics, always go to flakeys.com.
And speaking of the Keys, who wouldn't want to get away to a 3-night stay at Ocean Point Suites Resort in Key Largo and a fishing charter with our very own Captain Randy Tao? I know I would. How about you, Rick?
Let's go.
Let's go. Just head over to our website, FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com, before April 29th to enter to win. Good luck.
Absolutely.
We'll meet you down there. All right, we've got your Southwest region on deck, but first, Dave has some sailfish catching secrets he's going to share with everyone at the CCA workbench. Secrets, Dave?
No, they're not that secret. The importance of watching your bait. Why would you watch your bait? So you can see them when they eat it.
That's a secret.
Very important.
That's
I
a
can see them when they eat it.
There you go. We'll be right back with all that and more. Secrets from Dave.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
It's one of the most ancient forms of hide-and-seek known to man. And nobody knows how to play the fishing game better than the backcountry guides and offshore captains of the Florida Keys and Key West. Ready or not, here we come.
Welcome back, everyone. We're now going to take a look at the FWC news and notes. April 22nd is the Earth Day litter cleanup at Escribano Point. April 28th, there's a PS boating course at Peace River. And also on April 28th, there's another boating course in Lakeland. For more information, visit myfwc.com. But now let's head to the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques.
Well, Academy Sports certainly has a lot of rigs, and you got the techniques here at the CCA workbench, Dave. So, you know, Sailfish, we've talked many times about the type of way we're going to rig our bait.
Yeah.
But we don't often talk about what happens at the point of sailfish contact with our bait.
Right. Well, you know, that's very important. And when we're out fishing for these things, there's a lot of ways you can do them, but this is the way that we do it a lot, trolling with a ballyhoo and a circle hook. And what we have to do then is, because we're trolling and we're not using a live bait, is we have to drop the circle hook back, because a circle hook has to be swallowed for it to work.
Correct.
If I'm jerking on the line before he gets that hook down, then it's not going to work. I'm going to come back with a head, or the sancocho, as they call that. So what I want to do is, as soon as I get my ballyhoo on the bait, I'm on the hook, it's going to be out there, you know.
We're going to do
swimming along. You're going to show them how to hook it?
Why not? All right, so if this is our sailfish or any fish's mouth with a circle hook, look.
It comes
if you yank, guys, look what happens. It doesn't hook. But if you just slowly slide, look, every time, right, Dave?
Right, and it goes right in the corner.
Exactly.
And we probably won't be able to get it out now. Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right,
so you got your bait out there, and you got a ballyhoo on it, and usually when we're on this is called the short bait. You know, the long baits are going to be baits that we can't see really. They're going to be out there a good ways. The captain can see them, but we can't. These short baits that we pitch back or are already out there, you know, 50, 60 feet, we can actually see the bait on top of the water. So we're going to keep our eye on the bait. Once we have the bait out in the wash, we're going to keep our eye on it. And we're going to have the reel, these lever drag reels are going to be in free spool, and I have my thumb on the reel holding the bait in position, because the fish doesn't like a bait coming at him.
Correct.
And he doesn't like them going away. He likes them sitting right there. I like them sitting right there so he can pile on it. So we're sitting there looking at the bait. I'm not looking at the other fish piling on the teaser over here, or, you know, watching the bird fly around waiting for my bite. I'm watching my bait, because if I got my eyes on the bait, as soon as that fish comes and eats it, I can let it go. And I point my rod tip at the fish and let it go in free spool. And I'll let him go for like 3 or 4 seconds.
That's a great point.
Because yeah, you gotta. If you start the rod tip motion towards the fish as soon as he bites, what happens is it keeps the momentum from building up. And if you hold on to it and he bites, and then you let go once he bites, you've pulled a little bit of tension on there, and you let go, and you'll get a backlash. And that's not. We don't want a backlash. You shouldn't be afraid of getting a backlash, because if you don't drop back in free spool a lot, then you're probably going to have your thumb on there too much. And if you have your thumb on there too much, he will not swallow the bait. He'll
feel that little bit of drag.
He'll think, oh, this bait is not dead, so I can't swallow it. He'll feel that little tug, and he'll say, I'm not going to swallow it, I'm not going to swallow it. And then you go and try him, and the bait is still not swallowed, and you get the head back. Now, if you've got pure free spool, and the line's coming falling off the rod tip, not straight line, you know, it's falling off in free spool, you wait your 3 or 4 seconds, and you put it up into strike, and you start to wind. You don't jerk. You just wind, and you wind slowly. You don't have to crank as hard as you can.
If you saw what you pull
You saw
hard.
what happens. Same thing will happen if you jerk or if you wind real fast. So you just wind, and if the fish comes tight, it'll bend up, and you start pulling some drag out. If not, you wind the bait back up, get it in free spool again, put your bait down, and hold it in position again. Because you're using a circle hook, that fish did not get hurt. All you did was a fish came out of his mouth, and he said, oh, I'm gonna have to go catch it again. Where is it?
It got away.
And you wound it right up to the top, and he can see it again. And he's gonna come back and eat it again. And if you're looking at your bait, rod tip way high now, because the bait has gone back further, and you have to get your rod tip up so you can see the bait on the surface.
But
he eats it again.
That's right. That's what I was going to ask you. When he eats it,
right,
you can't have your rod tip up because of the resistance going up and then down.
You just throw it right at him as soon as you see it, eat it, and then you're in free spool again. And try him again. You can do that 3 and 4 times, and they'll keep coming back, coming back, coming back. And once you get him on, very important to realize that you are not a winch. You are a line retriever. The captain should turn the boat. We should be making a turn as soon as we get hooked up to catch 2 or 3. Nobody's ever caught a double header by winding all their stuff in when they got one hooked up. And we want to make a turn and try to get 2s and 3s.
Tell me what we do when we get him beside the boat. In vogue, out of the water, no.
Never. You know, I haven't put one in the boat in a long, long time, and a sailfish should never come in the boat.
Reach over. The slime off.
Yeah, reach over and cut him off. If you subdue a billfish to the point where you can put him in the boat, you've probably killed him.
Oh.
You know, yeah, you probably have. Not necessarily, but
we're just going to leave it at you let him go.
Let him go.
Let him go. Wah, wah. Thanks, Dave. Those are some good tips. The Bell's Southwest region isn't known for sail fishing, but wait till you hear what other options Captain Ronnie Houston has for you this weekend. Tell him, Ronnie.
Well, you know, we got the Spanish mackerels, according to Captain Steve, on the Misbehaving out of Naples. He says the Spanish mackerel have shown up in big numbers along the coast and in the passes and from the beach line out to the wrecks up to 8 miles. But Captain Danny Latham to the north has given me the same information, only he has told me the passes, large bait schools, and wrecks, and both captains give me the exact information as far as trolling with spoons. Also, when you find these fish after trolling with spoons, white bucktails, gotcha lures, silver spoons, and live pilchards are all working. Small trace of wire is suggested, and they're telling me the fish are averaging from 2 to 5 pounds, and the weather should be getting better as we approach towards the end of the week. Now, also on the offshore side, Captain Mike Avenon's telling me about the red groupers. Marco Island and Fort Myers Beach in depths of 85 to 100 feet of water for good quality fish. Fish hard bottom, but an important thing right now is the tide. He's telling me the stronger phases have been doing well, but when the tide slows down or gets slack, the fish aren't as aggressive, and you might have to work a little harder to get the fish to eat. Now he's telling me this just after not there, you're going to have to wait for that tide to pick up when it slows down. But he's telling me on the faster phases, bucktails with squid, but on the slower phase of the tide, you're going to have to go to the cut baits like squid, herring, and sardines. And I got a prime example of a nice red grouper by listening to what Mike Avenon has to say. Now, before I go into my inshore report, I'd like to welcome Sirius Marine to the show. And I'm not saying it because they're one of our sponsors. Ever hear the saying, seeing is believing? For the last couple weeks, I've been playing with the Sirius Marine on my GPS. I've been seeing what's going on. It's a big game changer. When you can see what's going on in the water, when you put in and plan your day by what's coming, that's what's convinced me, especially with that strong front we had coming in over the weekend. I purposely put on some rain gear. I sat in my boat. I watched my monitor, and you could see the reds, the yellows, the greens, the lightning, and the wind. So for me, it's about believing, and I truly believe in this Sirius. Now, on the inshore side, the tarpons. We want to concentrate right now from Pavilion Key to Naples and starting to show up around Sanibel, Pine Island Sound, and Boca Grande Pass. Now to the south, the outer Gulf passes and beaches in depths of about 8 to 15 feet of water, and to the north, the passes off the beach and the Sanibel Causeway. Baits of choice have been live mullets, threadfins, crabs, but those fish you get into that you can see free jumping or rolling in the same general area, you can't get them to hit a live bait. Cut baits on the bottom, such as ladyfish, mullet, and catfish. Fish are averaging about 60 to 120 pounds, and I got a prime example of a couple fish being released. Captain Steve on the Misbehaving out of Naples, and Captain Danny Latham to the north, both with nice tarpon releases. Now, the last species is a snook, starting to show up on the outer Gulf Islands from Goodland to Indian Key. Tides have been the last half of the incoming to the first half of the outgoing. Also, Bull and Turtle Bay along mangrove shorelines and independent islands have been plentiful, also down in the Everglades backcountry. So the snook fishing has been getting great. Live pilchards have been working very good. Also 3 to 4 inch white subsurface plugs, chugging lures in black and gold, and the Bass Assassin 4-inch sea shad in white, lime truce, and a new color Halloween. Copperfield colors have been working on the outer Gulf. Average size has been 21 to 25 inches. Some fish up to 34 inches, and another prime example of a nice fish caught with Captain Steve on the Misbehaving down south in Naples. Looking forward to seeing everybody tonight at Harbor Trucks.
All right, thank you so much, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Calusa Cast Nets hotspots from the Southwest region. He says offshore permit stump pass to Fort Myers Beach, fishing the wrecks in 8 to 20 miles out using live crabs, and an inshore redfish, Marco to Indian Key, fishing the outer Gulf Islands on the higher stages using live pilchards, gold spoons, and cut ladyfish on a knucker rig.
All right,
that
Rick.
guy misbehaving. I like the way he misbehaved.
I do too.
Man.
Pretty snookalicious to me. Let's talk about CCA Florida Star and the many ways you can win big, shall we?
All right, let's do that.
Gather a 5-gallon bucket full of trash and take a photo of it with the official measuring device to enter in the Costa Kick Plastic division. First place prize is a $2,500 package from Sunsect Insect Repellent and gift certificates from Costa for sunglasses and more. Second place wins an inflatable stand-up paddleboard, and third place is a prize package from Costa. Just head over to ccafloridastar.com to enter. How about that?
I like it.
So many ways to win with them.
Yeah, man, love it.
All right, get ready, my East Side anglers. We're headed your way next, dropping back to the Central, East, and Southeast regions, so stay hooked, and we'll be right back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Yay!
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin, and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. and Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're going to get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sailfishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Remember, for weekly reports from our 9 captains, you can go to our website at FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Official Insider and Captain Rick Murphy. And don't forget to go to HarborTrucks.com and register to win a Nissan truck like the one right here in our studio. And we're picking the winner at the end of the year, right?
Absolutely.
Don't forget, a really cool contest.
It's Trucks with an S.
Trucks with an S, exactly. Go enter now. All right, it's prime time sailfish catching time in the Bell's Central East region. And Captain Ross is jonesing to tell you all about it, so let's cut him loose, shall we? Floor is yours, Jim.
Well, it's that time of the year, gang. It's time for y'all to dust off your trolling gear and get ready, because the spring trolling season is kicking in. Sailfish are going to be rolling through our region, chasing ballyhoo and flying fish and sardines and, of course, the variety of other bait fish that are out there. It's going to start first down in the south end of the region around the Sebastian Inlet, and some of those guys are finding fish in as shallow as 90 feet, but if you want to be consistent, 120 to 400 feet down there is where you want to be. And then you can kind of follow that curve as it goes up north through Canaveral and through Ponce. Now, they usually show up in different places from day to day. It's all going to depend on your water temperature, so getting a temperature chart is a key factor in finding these things. You want to find where the color changes are, where the temperature changes are. That's going to congregate the bait fish, and that's where you're going to find those sailfish. Now, to get them, you can slow troll near those edges with live baits, or troll a little bit faster, 3 to 4 knots with naked or skirted ballyhoo, and that'll interest those sailfish. Now, a lot of guys will troll 5 to 6 knots, but it seems like if you slow back down just a little bit, if you're specifically targeting the sailfish to that 3 to 4 knot range, you'll actually catch more fish. And our average sailfish runs 30 to 50 pounds, but we do get some fish that'll be in the 60-pound mark on occasion in our region, especially as we come into the beginning and middle part of May. Now, the other species we have offshore is king mackerel, and the bites really slowed down right before this cold front, but it's starting to pick back up again now that we're getting some calmer seas in the 2 to 4 foot range and some southeast breezes. So once again, we're slow trolling live baits, or you can slow troll frozen sardines. And you want to target the wrecks and the reefs in 60 to 90 feet of water. That seems to be where the fish are right now. The Pines, 8A, Party Grounds, all great places to catch mackerel, and you should start your searches on some of those more prominent places like the ones I just mentioned. You can also troll some of those bigger Rapala CD14s or Rapala Magnum 15s behind your boat. If you just want to buzz up and down the reef real quick, try to get an idea of where the kingfish are holding out, and then slow down and target in on those fish with those live baits or those slow-trolled frozen baits. Most of our fish are running 10 to 15 pounds. Now, swinging inshore, guys, bluefish all throughout the region. The action's really good right now. The inlets in particular are holding a lot of fish. Sebastian, Canaveral, and the beaches all outside of them, and those fish are running 1 to 4 pounds. So you want to throw a little bit smaller size lure for them. A size 10 Rapala X-Rap in a greenback or blackback seems to work really well. Now, up around Ponce, there's getting some bigger ones up there still. You will still find some of those 10 to 15 pound class fish, and you can throw some larger plugs at those fish and get them to come up and strike. Now, one of my favorite things, if I'm sitting in the surf, to cast for those bluefish is a 1/4 or 1/2 ounce crocodile spoon.
those silver spoons, and put a little ball bearing snap swivel on the front of it because it minimizes your line twist. So if you don't want to use a big piece of wire, put a snap swivel out there and make sure it's a ball bearing one so that you don't get line twist, and you should be able to keep some of those fish from biting through your leader because that swivel acts as a leader. And our last species this week, Rick, is one of your favorites. It's our redfish, and of course the big bulls are cruising up and down the beaches and at the inlets right now. If you want to catch big fish, you want to use big baits, and you want to fish Ponce Inlet or Sebastian Inlet jetties. Croakers, pinfish, and mullet are all working really well right now. And you can get them best on the incoming tide by using a live jumbo shrimp. Now, we've got slot-sized fish as well. They're hitting saltwater assassin 4-inch sea shads. And the drunk monkey color, the Houdini color, and the albino halo color is really working well, depending on what the water clarity is in your area. Now, our average fish is running about 20 to 25 inches. And I've got a picture of one here that is one of our average-sized fish that you're going to find on the flats of our lagoons right now. Now, Rick, we've got a big event coming up this week. And so all you guys and gals in the Central East region, make sure that you stop out and see Rick and Jeffrey Page and myself at the Coastal Angler Magazine Boating and Fishing Expo. Rick, we're going to be Saturday morning. You're going to join me on my Catch a Memory Outdoors radio show from 7 to 9, and then we're going to be doing seminars throughout the day. So make sure that you guys and gals get out there. And if you get a chance, listen to Rick, my co-host Rodney Sayre, and myself this Saturday morning from 7 to 9.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward, actually, Jim, to being on the show with you this weekend and being together with the little gang from up there in the Central East region. We're going to go ahead and take a look, Brie, at the Central East sea boots or sea sucker hotspots from the Central East region. Jim says offshore, sailfish, dolphin, and wahoo on the rips and color changes in 180 to 250 foot depths, troll skirted ballyhoos at 4 to 6 knots. And then inshore, Ponce Inlet area for the bull redfish used live or cut pinfish, croakers, or mullet on a standard bottom rig.
Well, Rick, Jim just mentioned it, but we want you there so bad. Don't forget April 20th and 21st, head over to Boaters Exchange, Boating and Fishing Expo in Rockledge. If you go Saturday, like Jim said, you'll get to meet Captain Rick, Jeffrey Page, and Jim Ross. It should be a fun day,
yeah,
right?
And you know, they got great food there. We've got lots of boats. We'll all be doing different seminars. So, I mean, it starts early in the morning at, 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And I think my last seminar is at 3:30 or so. So it's
well,
a full day.
We know you all can talk pretty well.
A little bit.
A little bit. He can talk just a little bit. All right, the Casa Vieja Southeast region is no stranger to catching sails and is in fact where I caught my very first sail with Captain Rick on Sportsman Adventures. Remember that?
Absolutely.
Caught it was a baby,
little baby.
A little baby. It was so cool. All right, well, Captain Jimbo is here to share some of his Southeast sailfish mojo. Hello, Jimbo.
Hey, Rick. Hey, Brie, and everybody in studio there. Well, we do have some of the best sail fishing in the world right here in the Southeast region. Now, we don't catch as many as they do at Casa Vieja Lodge, but we do generally catch our fish a lot closer to shore, usually only 2 to 3 miles off the beach. Now, we do catch sails throughout the year, but December through May are peak months, and finding blue water and north current are key factors when we're looking for sails. And we like to network with other fishermen up and down the coast so we can find out where that best water conditions can be found. Now, the most effective way to target sails is with live herrings, goggle eyes, sardines, or pilchards fished under the kite in 80 to 250 feet of water. And if there isn't enough wind for the kite, try slow trolling or drifting those live baits, and those sails will eat those just the same. Now, we like to use 20-pound tackle, 10 to 15 feet of 40 to 60-pound mono or fluorocarbon leader, and 6.0 to 7.0 circle hooks. That's your standard sailfish setup. And lately, the bite's been spectacular on days when the current is in close, and there have been some double-digit catch and releases in the last few days. And then on the slow or no current days, the bite's been fair anywhere from the 100 to 200-foot range. I got a photo here, and this is just one other sailfish, which we've been catching and tagging a lot of them, that we tagged aboard the Thomas Flyer in the last few days. Now, staying offshore, kingfish bite has definitely picked up in the last week throughout the region. They're being caught on the troll and on the live baits, but the troll has definitely been producing a lot more fish than the live baits, but the size hasn't been as good. On the troll, you want to use a pink sea witch and a 4 to 6 inch bonita strip and pull it behind a number 2 or number 3 planer, or a 3.5 drone spoon pulled behind that planer, or on a wire line outfit. And then fishing with the live baits, want to use pilchards or herrings, fish them under the kite or on the drift, and that's been producing the larger fish. The best depths have been anywhere from 80 to 150 feet, with the best bite being early in the morning or late into the afternoon. Now, moving inshore, our tarpon reports pretty much repeated the last couple of weeks. We have tarpon around the bridges and dock lights at night, and also in and around the inlets. Around the bridges, look for the tarpon feeding around the shadow lines on the outgoing tide, and if you can find a color change or a rip, that's where those tarpon are most likely going to be feeding, and that's where you want to drift your live crabs and live baits through. Then around the inlets and off the beaches, live crabs and shrimp have been the best baits. And if the water is really clear, you might want to scale down your leaders a little lighter and go with smaller hooks. Now, all the fishing around the bridges and the inlets is taking place in the evenings and the early mornings also, but evenings is when it's been the best. But during the daytime, some of these same fish can be found in and around some of the deeper holes in the bays and in the intercoastal waterway, and they're eating live crabs as well as swimming plugs and even flies. And then moving really inshore on the freshwater side, the peacock bass fishing has been excellent in the urban lake and canal system in the south part of the region. Look for those peacocks in areas with clear water and current, and work quarter-ounce to half-ounce jigs or DOA terrorized, small Rapala husky jerks or shad wraps in gold or chartreuse, or live shiners and minnows, and you want to work those baits around the canal drop-offs, the bridge columns, and the drainage pipes. And with the artificial baits, a fast retrieve will attract the most bites, and there's no need to get an early start on those peacocks because they like to bite best in the middle of the day. The peacocks have been in the 3 to 5 pound range, and there have also been some largemouth and snook mixed in.
So, Jimbo, I got a question for you. You know, when it comes to sail fishing, certainly tonight's topic, I want to ask you, what are the big mistakes that most guys make whenever they're sail fishing? Can you tell me that?
Well, one thing, you know, we all listen to the radio, and a lot of people chase the radio. So they hear they're biting 5 miles one way or the other, and they pick up and they run. Well, when you're running, you're not fishing. So I like to just stick it out. If the conditions look good, then there's no need moving up and down the coast because those fish don't know if they're off Fort Lauderdale or Miami or Key Largo for that matter. They're always on the move. So if the conditions look good, stick it out. Let the fish find you instead of going and chasing those fish.
That's good advice. Thank you so much, Jimbo. Great report from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Jimbo's hot spots. Jimbo says inshore, big tarpon are eating live crabs and shrimp drifted through the inlets in the evening time. And then offshore, fishing live baits in 100 to 200 feet of water has been producing a mixed bag of sailfish, kingfish, mahis, blackfin tunas throughout the region.
Just let the fish find you. It's the best advice I've heard.
You want to hear something funny?
What?
She said to me during the commercial break
Yes?
that she was getting old.
Oh.
And I want you to know, I was thinking about that. I got shoes older than she is.
You don't know what getting old's like, Rick. Wait, all right, we have another exciting event coming up. The CCA Broward Banquet, sponsored by Startron, our lovely Central West Region sponsor, is on May 3rd at 6 p.m. in Oakland Park. As always, it's going to be a fun event, so make sure you grab those tickets before they're gone at cca.org.
That's right.
How about that? All right, we're moving right along here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report with your captain from the Panhandle region coming up next. And we're checking out what Dave Ferrell at the CCA Workbench has for new products this week. Anything exciting, Dave?
Well, we got something tonight that takes care of the most important thing on the boat.
That is?
Your lunch.
Your lunch. Yes, I agree.
I can't wait.
I can't wait to hear what
that is. I think
is.
there's even some lunch or dinner over there for us.
I
Dave.
heard it, yeah.
How about it?
Right, we'll be right back.
It's in there, deli.
Did you really?
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. built for the rigors of offshore boating, packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 four-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha, reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoor selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Stop by today and see our great selection for yourself. Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less.
Well, the new products here at the CCA Workbench, Dave,
yes, sir,
is something that we always do. I'm very excited about some of these products tonight.
Yes, you are.
So let's go.
Well, we're gonna start off with the VMC Tournament Circle hooks. You know, these are really nice hooks. They're made out of vanadium steel. They have a really wide gap on them. They say it's the widest gap of all the tournament hooks that are tournament approved down here in South Florida. Chemically sharpened. I know for a fact it's very sharp because when I was trying to tie the snell on the one that we were using earlier, I poked a hole in my lip with it. It's very, very sharp. It's got a conical needle point on it. Trust me. I thought I was going to be bleeding through the whole show. It's the effortless penetration. Trust me. It's a super strong hook.
I could really run with that, Dave, but we're going to let it go.
Yeah, it says, you know, the biggest thing in saltwater hooks is micro thin, and it is. It's really thin, and that makes it go in and stay in. You know, a lot of guys are even chasing big blue marlin are going to smaller, thinner hooks these days because they go right in. Anyway, that's the coastal black. It's got a really good corrosion. They put many, many layers of corrosion resistance on the VMC's Tournament Circle hooks.
All right.
Next, we have the Costa collection, the Del Mar collection from Costa. And you know, these are inspired by the ocean life and all the colors. That very first one there is the large frame. That's the male version in here. It comes in 4 colors, classic square lens shape.
The male version.
Yeah, it's the male version. And then they got the Del Mar here, which is California inspired, medium fit.
Dave, I just want you to
4
see.
colors.
This
You
is
look
some
like
sassy stuff right here.
You're looking like Hollywood for sure.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And then this is the May. This one's May, another medium fit. And then the Sarasota. These are all 3 ladies' glasses. Yeah, small frame, relaxed cat eye design is what they call that.
I like it.
Yeah. So anyway, the next we have is the Sub Safe. I know that you've been really excited about the Sub Safe, and how could you not be? You know, the worst thing in the world is getting out in the boat and having your public sub all soggy from being sitting on top of the ice and getting crushed by everything. This thing is armor for your sub.
Proof.
Outer armor for your sub. It'll hold a 6-inch or a 12. You know, comes in 3 pieces. Yeah.
An Italian for you.
You're gonna make me
exactly how you like it.
Yeah, you know I don't like tomatoes. Anyway, you did that on purpose.
I know.
Anyway, you're gonna put a 6-inch in here or a 12-inch. It'll even hold a bottle of wine
or your favorite rum. The reason this is so cool, guys, is as it gets banged around on a rough day, and no break it,
nobody can break it. You could use it for dry storage.
Right?
You could use it for a
big cup,
you know, or a little cup for a coffee.
You could use it for your coffee or your Red Bull. Dave,
you can build a house with it.
I think we really, you know what I see is I see these in the deli section at Publix so you can buy and take your sub fishing.
I think somebody's going to make $1 million.
Guess what? You can put a 9-piece chicken in here.
No, 9?
I promise.
Well,
I did it.
You probably have to take the bones out.
But you got to use the big one.
That's right.
And the other thing is, what is it?
It's BPA safe, so
there you go.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that.
Floats.
And like I said, condensation won't get in there. You can put a sub in a thing and let it sit in there for a long time. The water won't sog it out, which is horrible.
So the owners told me that they put a piece of bread, put it in ice chest, left it in there for 6 days, keep draining the water off. Guess what? Pull the bread out. It was cold, but it wasn't mushy.
Yeah,
that,
there you go.
To me, is a really cool product.
Good
job, guys.
You like it a lot.
So how do we find them? We'll go to Subsafe.
Subsafe.com.
There it is.
All right. This is a really cool shirt from Guy Harvey. This is the Guy Harvey men's long sleeve. This is the Ultra Pro UVX. This is their brand new performance shirt. It's 100% polyester. It's got UPF 30. You know, sun won't get to you through it. I always wear long sleeve shirts on the boat. I won't wear short sleeves anymore. Scotty Kerrigan taught me that years and years ago.
Yes,
it's quick dry, breathable. You know, it's got the sublimation art on it, so you won't feel it. You know, you won't feel like
beautiful the back
It's really
is,
gorgeous
Dave.
on the back.
You know,
and it's antimicrobial and super soft, really super soft. And anytime you buy anything from the Guy Harvey, it goes to the Guy Harvey Ocean Research Foundation, and a little bit of the money goes to those people too. So anytime you help out Guy Harvey,
and that allows us to go do
exactly,
you know, shark tagging, rooster fish research, all kinds of cool stuff.
That's just pretty. He does such good art. I just love it.
That's actually almost sexy.
No, I wouldn't go that far, but it's pretty nice.
Thanks for the support, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're the greatest jockstrap I've ever had.
yeah.
Hey,
almost sexy. It's getting crazy over there with your sub-safes and your shirts and whatnots. All right, filling in for Pat Deneen in the Yeti Panhandle region is Brandon Wright. Welcome to the show, Brandon. Go for it.
Oh, thank you. How are you?
Pretty darn good.
Awesome.
All right, let's get started.
All right, well, I guess we're starting with sailfish. Is that correct?
That's correct. Go ahead, Brandon.
All right. Well, Rick, the sailfish bite here has been pretty slow. You know, I think it contributes to the, we had a really cold winter and still been a pretty chilly spring. You know, just a few fish caught around the rigs, but it's really, really spotty. Hopefully this warmer weather will bring in the bait and bring in the fish a little closer.
All right, so what do you have going on offshore then?
You know, right now the triggerfish has probably been the best bite. You know, we've been finding them mainly on anything in 80 to 120 foot of water. 2-hook rigs, you know, with your basic squid or Boston mackerel has probably been the best thing. Generally speaking, we try to use the smaller hooks. It seems to be a little bit better because they're pretty good at stealing bait. You know, here on my last few trips, it seems the higher in the water column that we've been fishing, the better the fish have been. You know, so the lower you go, you catch the smaller ones. The higher, you know, you catch a lot of the bigger triggerfish.
So I have a question for you, Brandon. So, you know, they are the king at bait stealing. So do you have anything specific that you do to help take your odds up?
Well, we sure do. Generally what we do, we kind of actually just feather the line down where you can kind of feel it, and you'll actually feel your bait stop midway down. And generally speaking, that's the triggerfish nibbling on it, and you want to go ahead and stop it there, and that'll give you a little bit more success in catching. But if you let it go all the way to the bottom, you're pretty much robbed before it hits the bottom.
I gotcha. So, all right, let's talk a little inshore fishing. What about the redfish?
Man, the redfish bite's starting to happen pretty good. You know, the ones on the beach are typically going to be too big, but there's big schools of them on the beach right now. I'd say the best bait for them is going to be like a bigger paddle tail jig. That's been working the best. You know, you can throw a live bait at them. You know, there's really no need to. The big paddle bait, you know, big swim bait works really well.
Tell me about this picture.
That picture was with Captain Chris Shepard of Shikari Charters, and he was in the bayou fishing, just using, you know, this 1 ounce slip lead Carolina rig, and you know, he's been doing really well in the bayou, catching lots of nice keepers like the ones you see.
All right, so let's take a second and talk about that bayou fishing. You know, this time of year, obviously the water can get real tannic depending on the amount of rain. You guys just had a few late cold fronts come through. So is that water brown or is it clear?
You know what, Rick? The water's pretty dirty, but I think the water color is really not an issue. It's the water level. As long as the water's up and you don't see a lot of oysters on the sides of the dock, like where the water's down a couple feet, you should be good to go. If you get into a bayou, you see the water, is way down, then it's going to be a little tougher to catch them.
All right, tell me about the trout fishing, bud.
Man, the trout has been heating up really good, on the patchy grass. I'd say in 3 to 6 foot of water. Mirror lures in the morning and in the evening has been pretty good. But, in the middle of the day, you're probably going to do the best. Live bait chumming. There's been some menhaden starting to show up. So that'd be your best bet is fly line and menhaden.
All right, well, thank you so much for filling in. You got a trout pitcher? No. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. It's Captain Sid Little. Had a pretty nice 26-incher on there, but I'm not sure.
It looks good, man. Well, thank you for sending in the pictures. Thank you for filling in for Pat. You did a good job representing the Yeti Panhandle region, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, we want to fish pompano jigs tipped with sand fleas, or a set rig around the East Pass Jetty, shrimp on a Carolina rig for those slot reds in the bayous, and then offshore, use a 2-hook rig on natural and artificial bottom in 100 to 150 feet of water for the triggers and vermilion snappers.
Okay, Floridians, the Northwest and Northeast regions are ready and waiting for you guys, so stick around and we'll be right back on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Look at that truck.
It's
How good
pretty.
Is that?
That's
pretty.
Beautiful. Don't forget to keep up with everything fishing
hey.
in Florida. Visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram.
How
what do you think about that?
You did so good.
I know.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
Captain Jeff Hageman from the Flagler Construction Northwest region is now on the line and wants to give you your best shot on the water this weekend. So why don't you help him out, Hag?
Sailfish, we've got them. Most of the time we catch them up here, it's bycatch. While trolling or anchored up for kingfish. So it's more of a bycatch thing right now. In August, we seem to get a few more. They're almost targetable. You can go out there to the weed lines, slick calm days. You can find them finning and sight cast to them. Have a live bait ready when you're running from spot to spot while you're out there grouper fishing. And if you see any kind of bait out there, that's going to be a big help. Any kind of all your flying fish. If you got rudder fish underneath your flotsam, that's a good spot to start looking. But most of the time, we're catching them. It's more bycatch than anything. But what we are catching offshore, Captain John Lane from JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports a good mangrove snapper bite right now. He's using live or fresh shrimp on a one-aught circle hook. He's drifting those back in a heavy chum with 20 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader, and the fish right now are averaging 2 to 6 pounds, so that's some really good mangrove snapper. He's fishing on the ledges and reefs around 60 to 110 feet of water, and I got a photo there of a nice 25 and a half inch mangrove snapper. That's a stud right there.
Man, Bree, that's a snapper there, boy. Oof.
Yes, it is.
9 pounds. That's a good one.
All right, what else you got, buddy? Keep on going.
Inshore, moving inshore. Captain Jordan Todd of Saltwater Obsession Fishing Charter out of St. Joe Bay reports the redfish tend to love these colder water temperatures you've been having up there and seem to have schooled up a little bit in the super shallow water. He's fishing the grass flats or along the beaches. He's using a half-ounce gold spoon. Seems to be working really good lately. He's making long casts past the school, retrieving it back through them. And right now, most of the fish are averaging anywhere from 24 to 27 inches, with a few overslot fish and fish up to 30 inches are being caught pretty regularly. Also, moving down the coast a little bit, Captain Jimbo Keith, Saltwater Assassin Fishing Charters, he's catching some good redfish too, but he said the speckled trout bite's been good in that 3 to 5 foot reed area. He's using rattling corks with that Saltwater Assassin green moon color on a jig, fished on the incoming tide. Seems to be working the best for him. He said the redfish bite's still pretty decent. For this time of year, he's using cut mullet fished around the oyster bars and shell bottom on the incoming and outgoing tide. And I've got a great photo there of Jordan Todd with a triple header. Some nice redfish right there.
Yeah, man, I like it. Look how beautiful that water is in Port St. Joe or somewhere in that neighborhood.
Gorgeous.
That's beautiful.
That's pretty up there.
Yeah, man. All right, keep going, bub. You got a long ways to go.
Gotcha. Captain Billy Davis out of Tarpon Springs right now, and he's in the Port Richey area. Slam Chaser Charter reports a good snook bite right now. He's targeting along the mangrove shoreline points that have good moving current. The last part of the incoming tide or the first part of the outgoing tide seems to be the best. He's using 30-pound Suffolk fluorocarbon leader. He's using a one-aught circle hook, and he's freelining greenbacks. He seems that's being the best bite. Moving into Tampa Bay and off the coast, in kind of middle Tampa Bay, Captain Jason Lineberger of Ruthless Fishing Charters reports a good snook bite. They've seen a lot of pressure lately. Everybody's been fishing for him. They've been hammering him pretty hard. So he says, with all the pressure right now, you really need to drop down your leader. And he's going a 20 and 25-pound fluorocarbon leader with a one-aught hook. Sometimes he's going down to a size 1 hook with these smaller sardines that he's having up right in the bay right now. And he says the bigger fish are eating those smaller baits because they're not seeming to want to chase the fish too much. Moving a little bit further down Tampa Bay towards the southern part of Tampa Bay, Captain Mike Anderson of Real Animals Fishing Charters. He says that Fort DeSoto bite's been really good right now. It's been fair and good depending on the day and the weather. Trout, snook, Spanish mackerel. The trout seem to be in that 3 to 6 feet of water along with the mackerel. And the snook bite right now has been pretty good around the potholes. They're using them for ambush points all over the southern part of the bay and in Tampa Bay. And I've got a photo there of Captain Mike. He caught that fish out yesterday when I was up there fishing with him.
Hey, Hag, I got a couple questions for you. When do you feel like you're going to transition down to the pass to start doing your poon fishing? This cold front kind of threw you tarpon guys a little curveball, don't you think?
Oh, it did very much. The other day, there was a lot of fish up in the harbor. There's still some fish in front of the beach, in front of Fort Myers. I'm heading down on the 28th, and hopefully they'll be there when I get there, and we get some more warmer weather. But this cold front definitely stunted the major migration. So I'm hoping they get here pretty soon and stay a little less windy than we were in the past year.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So what have you guys been doing in all this heavy wind?
I've been more red fishing right now and snook fishing than anything. I'm still up in Tampa. I won't transition down to Booker Run, like I said, to the 28th of the month, so I don't head down there for quite a while. So I'll be inshore as much as I can, and then transition to tarpon fishing as soon as I get down there.
All right, well, thank you for keeping it real adventurous for us.
Wow.
But if you guys want to go fish with our Northwest Region captain, Mr. Hageman, you can certainly do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northwest Region. Inshore, redfish from the middle to the top of the tide. Use cut pinfish or ladyfish for bait on a 4-0 circle hook, and then offshore, grunts, sea bass, and hogfish on flat rock off of Tarpon Springs. 45 to 55 feet of water. Use cut squid or a piece of shrimp on a chicken rig for bait.
Where'd you learn to be so punny, Rick?
Oh, I had a good teacher.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Don't you think she's a good teacher, Tommy?
Hi, Tommy.
She's a great teacher. I'm sure she's a really great teacher.
Doing
you know what,
things,
guys? You know, the timing couldn't have been any better to talk about sailfish this week, because we've got some good numbers of sailfish starting to show up here in the strike zone Northeast region. You know, we get a good push of sailfish coming from the south this time of year as the water warms up, and then another good push of fish as the sails are heading back south in the fall. Now, I spoke to several of our offshore captains this week, and they tell me the key to finding the sailfish is going to be finding the cleaner blue water in that 74 to 78 degree range. And you can start in the 21 fathom depths and work your way on out to the Gulf Stream and even beyond that. You're going to want to look for current edges, color changes, as well as flying fish. I spoke to Captain Billy Hunsicker from EndlessSummerCharters.com. He's been finding most of his sails this week on those color changes, but the sailfish are hanging in that dirty side of the color change. You're going to want to slow down a bit to somewhere around 5 to 6 knots, and they're pulling either naked or skirted ballyhoo right now. Now, staying offshore, you know, I've got to talk about grouper this week. It's a little early, but you know, everyone's getting really fired up for the opening of the season next month. I spoke to a couple of captains that told me that this is the most grouper they've seen around in a long time. It's a good thing. Captain Bo from the Mayport Princess said he's been catching quite a few big grouper, both red and gags, in shallow water, you know, 70 foot on out to 100 foot in Jacksonville. Captain Bo says he thinks there's more fish around this year than he's seen in quite some time. And I also spoke again to Captain Billy Hunsicker out of St. Augustine. He told me the same thing. Now, Captain Billy's catching a bunch of big grouper from 80 to 200 feet out of St. Augustine. Now, they told me that with the winter being as cold as it's been, the fish have moved south to our region, they think, from the Carolinas, and they're probably going to stick around for the opening of the season in May, or at least we hope they do. So if you want to book with those guys, I do it now. I know they're filling up fast for those grouper tricks. I've got a picture here of a grouper. This is Michael Smith with a monster of a scamp grouper he caught aboard the Endless Summer with Captain Billy. You know, that fish, he said it was almost 30 pounds, which I think was probably close or even broke that state record.
That is
now moving inshore, you know, we've got a really good negative low tide happening first thing in the morning this weekend. That means it's going to be a great time to get out and look for backing and tailing redfish up in the shallows. We found some this morning. Now, I've been finding the redfish up super shallow in the backs of the bigger creeks. They're chasing smaller minnows and shrimp back there. Creeks in St. Augustine like Casacola, Capot, and Stokes Creeks, they're holding those reds in the very back there at low tide. Now, we've been doing well using a weightless, weedless hook and a new penny gulp shrimp. And you can present that nice and gentle with very little splash, and that's key in getting those skinny water redfish to eat and not spook. Now, we also have a good bull redfish bite happening in the St. Johns River in Jacksonville. Now, they've been chewing on the turn of either tide in the 35 to 40 foot drop-offs from the little jetties to Blunt Island, and you can usually find those fish on your fish finder and then get set up, use a half a blue crab on the bottom, pin that to a 6 to 8/0 VMC circle hook, depending on bait size. And just make sure, you know, if you're going to be fishing for those big fish, make sure you got a venting tool, know how to vet them. Those are the breeders, take good care of those fish. I got another picture here. This is Captain Colin Phillips. He sent me this. This is him along with Chanel and Alyssa with a monster redfish that Chanel caught in the St. Johns River. That was Chanel's first fish she's ever caught. I'd say she set the bar pretty high for herself with
She
that
might
one.
as well just quit fishing for redfish. Go on to something
Might
else.
as well quit. That's it.
That's
I've
right.
been done.
Go to something else.
Now, also inshore, coming off the new moon, the black drum bite has been good throughout the region, from the smaller slot-sized fish all the way to those big 50-plus pound fish. Now, the smaller drum in that 2 to 5 pound range have been in the creek holes throughout St. Augustine on the low tide. Now, they've been hanging at both the St. Augustine and Mayport inlets as well. In fact, one of my clients called me today and said he caught one on just about every cast at low tide this morning. Now, shrimp, blue crab, and fiddlers fished on the bottom have all been working really well. The big drum have been along the bridges and holding on some of the nearshore wrecks. The big redfish are in those same areas too. Look for those black drum to hang around in decent numbers for the rest of the month and then into May. I got one last photo here. This is my longtime client, my good buddy, Nathan Craig, with a nice black drum that he caught with me here recently in St. Augustine.
And you took that photo. Of course you did.
That was
right?
a cool one, right?
That was really cool.
Tommy, it ain't nothing but cool. Hey, how my girls doing?
They're doing
All
good, man.
three of them.
They're keeping us very busy, as 3 little girls tend to do. But they're doing
Are they
fantastic.
playing any sports or doing dance or any of that stuff?
They're fishing.
Our
with
oldest,
Dad.
Avon, she's 5. She's playing she can cast. You guys got to see it. She can cast better than most people have on the boat. It's amazing.
That's
so
awesome.
That's her sport right now, is fishing with Daddy.
Hashtag little girl goals.
I'm sure.
I want to go fishing with Daddy. I'll call you. We're going to book a trip. All right, bud. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Bye,
Great
Tommy.
report this week. We're going to go ahead and
See you
take a
guys.
look at the strike zone hot spots from the Northeast region. Offshore, blackfin tunas and sailfish at the ledge throughout the region. Look for good color change and flying fish. And then inshore, giant bluefish along the St. Augustine jetty, as well as the flats in south of the town. Fish are ranging from 10 to 15 pounds and will chase and eat just about any lure. Look for them tailing and schooling on the surface, Brie.
All right, Rick, we've got one more region to cover, and that is the Central West region. So hang tight, and we will be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment, your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Today's Power Pole Tip of the Week, we're going to discuss catching bait with the help of my power poles.
I have a couple different styles of bait catching, and both of them my power poles assist me. First, on the grass flats in the bay, I'll use my power poles to stop the boat and keep it from pivoting. Then I'll begin to chum in front of my boat to bring the pilchards to the bow along with some pinfish. I'll throw my cast net a few times, bag my pilchards, put them in my live well, and go run my charter. My second method is what we call rodeo style, and we'll ride up and down the beach on the trolling motor looking for the pilchards, running down the beach, and I'm talking in 1 foot, 2 foot of water right along the beach. Once I've seen them, I'll throw the cast net on them. Using my foot switch, I'll lower the power poles, stopping the boat, bag the pilchards, put them in the live well. And that's today's power pole tip of the week.
Captain Jeffrey Page from the Star Trek Central West region is closing us out with only his best, of course. So, Page, let him have it.
I just want to know, did I do the point?
Yes, you did. We did the point, too.
We point with you.
We point with you.
I love it. You and Rick did the point together?
We did.
Yeah, man.
All right, that's the way we do it.
Heck yeah.
We're to the point.
Well, I'm last, but definitely not least, and I'm on point. You know what, Rick? In the Star Trek Central West region, I know it's not known, definitely not as a sailfish destination, but we do have, especially in the springtime and early summer, a push of sailfish that come in pretty close to our shorelines in the Gulf, provided that the big schools of threadfins are plentiful, which they usually are as long as there's not a big area of red tide around, which there isn't this year. So people are catching them, spotting them, seeing them in as close as a mile off the beach out to 11 miles. And that's, that's pretty much the number. A lot of guys will, while they're king fishing or bottom fishing on near shore artificial reefs, are going to see these kingfish or these sailfish. And like I said, it's pretty easy. You have a flat line ready with a live thread fin, pitch it out there to him, and he's going to eat it. And I have a photo tonight of Captain Randy Powell and Captain Ryan Ellis with one of a few they got just outside Sarasota on my seashell.
That's cool. All right, man. What else you got for us offshore, Paige?
Kingfish. It was our theme species a couple weeks ago, but with all the cold fronts we've had, they were a couple weeks behind, and they're really clicking right now. It's turned on a lot in our Central West region, and they're in those same areas that these guys are getting the sailfish, hard bottom areas, artificial reefs, rock piles, in as close as a mile, out to 11 miles. And the key, Rick, has been using your bottom machine and marking good stacks of bait, and most of the bait are thread fins. There are some Spanish sardines, but a lot of it's thread fins. And then once you're finding that, you can do a couple different patterns. You can troll lip plugs like X-Rap, 20s or 30s, chartreuse or blue, or slow trolling big blue runners or big thread fins in and around these areas. Or you can anchor up or put your spot lock on your trolling motor and just put out a bunch of flat lines and chum smaller baits to get the king fired up. And you'll get other species fired up as well. And I've got a kingfish photo tonight from the Yamaha Suncoast Kingfish Derby that was just this past weekend. Yamaha-sponsored team, Real Dirty, with a 54-pounder that they won with.
Man, that was a dirty kingfish right there for to win that. That's nice. Good job, Paige. All right, let's go inshore,
All right,
bub.
Inshore. As you know, because you were just here, lots of redfish have moved into Central West, which hasn't been something we could brag about for the last few years. But as you know, you spent 2 days here pre-fishing. There's a few schools of redfish around, and I want to say that it's improved a lot over the past 6 months, especially around the Fort DeSoto area. Captain Hageman told me that there's been a lot of oversized fish, but the ones that he's getting are all 28, 32, 33, not really good tournament fish, but great charter fish, catch and release. He's using live pilchards, and he's fishing around the top part of the tide, the last couple hours of incoming and the first hour of outgoing, up against all the islands, Tarpon Key, Jackass, Mule, all those shorelines in there in Oyster Bar. And then I've also had reports of a lot of fish down to the south around Lemon Bay, same pattern, top of the tide, around the mangrove and oyster bars. If you're not into using the live pilchards, the live target scaled sardine, or the saltwater assassin salty snack in the golden brim pattern on an 8-ounce weedless Mustad 4.0 hook. Works real well, and I've even got some good reports of fish around the docks down in Blackburn Bay and Little Sarasota Bay, and the guys have been getting them down there on the Gulf shrimp. Got a photo tonight of Team Jaeger Startron with Billy the Kid Ostrom filling in for me with a solid 14.30 bag, good enough for second place in the Florida Pro Tournament this past weekend.
Yeah, man, that was a good day of fishing. It was a lot of fun. You know, Paige, we fished really solid. I know I shared this with you, and we didn't make any mistakes. We just came up just a little short, you know. But tell me about the snook fishing.
All right, real quick. Snook fishing, Terracea, Palmasola Bay, and mouth of the Manatee River. Good snook on live filters. I've got a photo tonight of Pete LaRocco with one of many snook he got with me the other day.
All right, thank you so much, Captain Page. You did a great job from the Startron Central West region. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at the Daiquiri Deck Central West hotspots. Offshore, lots of kingfisher showing up, especially in the south part of his region from Boca Grande to Venice. Troll with stretch 30s or slow troll blue runners over the hard bottom areas in 30 to 50 feet of water. And then inshore, lots of redfish around the mangrove islands and oyster bars of Bull and Turtle Bay. Now, you know, Brie, CCA works a lot with, you know, our federal government as well as the state government. Yep. And on the 17th of April, they have decided to give us a snapper season, which will start June 11th. 40 days of red snapper fishing. So we hadn't had that in quite a long time. So that's a victory for recreational fishermen. Awesome. Good job, CCA and FWC working together.
Exactly. And good job to you, second place, mister. That's
How about
awesome.
that?
High five. Oh, I was trying to dodge it, but it's okay. That's all right. All right, I hope you're excited to fish this weekend, whether it's for sailfish or just being out on the water, because we've given it our all. But stay tuned for a little longer so we can tell you what we're sinking our hooks into next week right here on the Florida
Insider
Fishing Report.
Good job.
How about that?
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now SetPoint adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with fish point, or a position and heading with stay point, or a heading while you drift with drift point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with SetPoint. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking all about the trout. How about that, Rick? Sailfish to trout. How about this? We have students here, and this is Miss Gigi, their art teacher, and these drawings they've taken from Guy Harvey, right? This is what they've been inspired to draw?
That is correct. We're learning about the art of Dr. Guy Harvey and how he has influenced internationally the environment of the ocean. Just one person who can make such an impact to bring awareness to our needs in the ocean.
Now, Gigi, you were telling me during the break that, why did you pick Guy Harvey?
I picked Guy Harvey because not only is he an oceanographer and he got his doctorate in fishery management, but he uses art as an influential platform to make a difference in the world. And so I think that he is someone that they should look up to.
You know, you're so correct. What's so neat about Guy, as we well know, Brie, is that he not only is a marine biologist, but he's a conservationist. He's somebody who does tremendous research. So I'm so proud of the fact that you recognize and you're teaching your students that you can be
That's correct.
a whole lot of things, not just one thing. And good for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, girls.
Congratulations.
This is so beautiful. I can't wait for Guy to send me an email and tell me how awesome this was.
Yes, exactly. They're beautiful girls. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you all for joining us. We're very excited to see you out on the water catching those sailfish this weekend. But please join us next week, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone,
We'll
for
see you
being here.
later.
Bye.